That's not us, right?
Okay, that's just
Okay. I'm gonna make sure, decorum reminder, I know at the last meeting, we ran a little long, and while we value discourse because this is how we come up with solutions, we also want to remain mindful of everyone's time. So thank you to everyone for your patience. We've moved you up on the agenda, so you'll be going before the legislators this time around. And for both our board members and community members, let's be mindful of the back and forth that we have with each other and the community. Please respond or when you're called upon, if that's okay, just so we don't drag this long. And thanks to Member Mariano for making sure that we were able to be a little bit on time, but not a little over. And then
We love you, though.
thank you. I also wanted to bring up that we have Familia, who will be our NA from now on. So Spencer has moved over.
different board assignments.
So Spencer's gone on, so we commend him and thank him for everything that he's done during our time on the board, and we officially welcome Familia to our NB11 neighbors organization.
Welcome.
Okay, with that being said, roll call. So roll call, Chang,
Present.
Chi,
Present.
Berenger, Davis, Berenice, Iwamoto, Charlie, here, Rice,
Here.
Webb,
Present.
Mariano,
Present.
we have one. Thank you. Moving on to public safety reports, Honolulu Fire Department, you submit the report every month at the beginning, and I'm glad you folks are here as well. Captain Pino and your staff, thank you for being in person today.
Thanks for having us. We are still in service. I have to monitor the kids. Okay. I have firefighter one, Mihara is here. He's going to read you the incidents statistics for May 2024 for the Moana Kaka'ako neighborhood.
All right. Thank you very much, Neighborhood Board. The incident statistics for May 2024. For fires, we had 0 structure fires, 0 wildland and brush fires. We had 7 nuisance fires, which include rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle. We had 2 cooking fires, and we had 23 activated alarms, resulting in no fires. Other notable emergencies, we had 179 medical. We had 2 motor vehicle collision with pedestrian emergencies. We had 5 motor vehicle crash or collisions, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, and 0 hazmat incidents. For our fire safety tips and announcements, the fire safety tip is about power outages. So Hawaii is fire prone with a year-round risk of wildfire. Hazardous weather conditions, especially during hurricane season, which is June 1st to November 30th, will increase the risk. The HFD encourages everyone to proactively protect yourself, your family, and your property through advanced planning, understanding, and preparation. In the event of a power outage, remember these safety tips. Build a 14-day disaster supply kit. Take an inventory of the items that you need that rely on electricity. Plan for batteries and other alternative power sources to meet your needs when the power goes out. Know your medical needs, such as devices or refrigerated medicines. A general list is available online if you need at honolulu.gov/dem. DEM. Next is using appliances during power outages. So using appliances during power outages, avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Generators, camp stoves, or charcoal grills should always be used outdoors and at least 20 feet away from windows. Turn off or disconnect appliances, equipment, or electronics that may be damaged during possible momentary power surges or spikes. For more tips and detailed information, visit ready.gov/power-outages. And lastly, starting July 1st, HECO, the Hawaiian Electric Company, will commence their Public Safety Power Shutoff, the PSPS program, to reduce the risk of wildfire. As one component of their 3-phase wildfire safety strategy, HECO may preemptively shut off power in identified high-risk areas during periods of forecast high winds and dry conditions. This program is being utilized as their last line of defense to keep communities safe and may result in extended power outages. A PSPS could last several hours or up to several days. The HFD and HECO will continue to work with Board of Water and other city safety, state and federal agencies to lessen any impacts from PSPS. If you have any more questions or desire any more information regarding that, you can go to hawaiianelectric.com for more.
I do have a quick question. These periodic shutdowns, will the businesses, the residents, will they have some kind of warnings as?
My understanding is that they will have warning ahead of time. Again, we don't have, so it's a HECO program. So we are being informed as public is being informed.
Okay.
But my understanding is that they will have warnings, yeah. Yeah, so you can plan ahead, yeah. That concludes the statistics. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Okay, thank you. And I want to recommend let's register your motorcycle at 6:08 p.m. Questions from the board. Member Moana.
Yes, I've been talking about infrastructure around the area. With that increase of more condo opening,
Sure.
more traffic, particularly some of the streets are narrower because of parking. Has that slowed down or impaired your response times? And if it did, what impact would that be?
So to the best of my knowledge, it hasn't slowed down our response times in any significant way. Yeah. As far as could it, it is possible. The things you mentioned, narrowing more roadways, more buildings going up, more traffic, of course, those things will, especially traffic, right, is the biggest thing, especially in this area that slows our response times when drivers don't respond or react appropriately to emergency vehicles traveling on the roadways. But as far as I know, there hasn't been any significant decrease in response, or increase rather in our response.
Member Tang.
Yes.
Lately, the Kaka'ako housing,
Yes.
their alarms are going off again. Are you guys getting summoned every time those alarms get off?
Unfortunately, yes.
I mean, I complained about this before and
You're talking about 1541, 1545, 1583, right? Yeah.
it
Yeah.
used to be really long and then somehow looked like it's kind of got fixed.
Yeah.
And then now it's going in the middle of the night, like 10, 15.
Yeah. And it happens for various reasons, right? Sometimes it's a malfunction. Sometimes people are pulling the fire alarms. But anytime a fire alarm is activated, even if it's a confirmed false alarm, we still continue our response because we need.
Oh, I know, I hear you guys. Right across the street from
Yeah,
us.
we apologize for that, yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just one more, sir.
Sure.
With the increase of the buildings going up and around and the limited resources that you folks have,
Mhm.
have you considered conducting additional trainings for some of these condos, to kind of help out, for delays, particularly like buildings that's 48 stories high, 36 high, and if you have multiple buildings, having fire at one time or power outage, you can only respond so much. But maybe considering some training for these condos
What,
associations.
I'm not, could you clarify a little more on what type of trainings?
But training would be, for example, fire evacuation, on a floor, if you're on the 25th floor, secure yourself 2 up, 2 down, right? And if you have the buddy system on the floor, knocking on the door, make sure people that have some disability, are being assisted, or marking it when it's clear, so when you folks respond to that floor, it's clear, something like that.
I apologize, that is us, we need to go.
Yeah.
Right, that is a great question. I would recommend you go to the HFD website and email their fire prevention.
Thank you, sir.
I can actually tell you that they do, if you go to the website, you can request somebody from the fire department to come to your building and give you a customized kind of assessment and talk to your whole, your residents.
The reason I brought that up, your model is to make sure that we can get the word out to all these new development that's coming along like that.
Secretary Rice.
To your question, I know my building and two buildings before my building that I lived in, they all do fire drills on a quarterly basis with total evacuation. So that should, I think that's kind of standard procedure these days. I don't know, but if the building doesn't, they should, without a doubt.
All right, thank you. Questions from?
There they go.
Okay. Thank you. Fire Department. Moving on. Honolulu Police Department with Lieutenant Lucio.
Good evening, Chair Lee and everyone in attendance. Lieutenant Lucio representing the Honolulu Police Department, District 1 Community of Responsibility. I know you guys' time is precious, so I'm going to get right into the stats for the month of May. So motor vehicle thefts for this past month of May was 24. Previous to that was 20. Burglaries are down. There were 8. Previous to that, it was 11. Thefts is 121. Previous, 118. UMVs or car break-ins, 39, previous 33. Assaults were 14, previous was 12. Sex assaults were 1, previous to that was also 1. Graffiti cases for Board Member Mariano, 1 case was made. Previous to that was 0. Drug offense arrests were 14, previous to that was 12. So total calls for service for your particular was down this month. It was 3,819 compared to the previous month of 4,124. So with regards to the mentioned categories, there's no criminal breaches at this time. I just wanted to remind the board members and the community about 4th of July is coming up quickly. And I just wanted to report that there will not be any fireworks show put on by Ala Moana Shopping Center this year. However, we know that Ala Moana Beach Park will be busy as usual. District 1 will be allocating personnel to address the influx of people on that particular day. And once again, we want to remind our community members that no alcohol or dogs are allowed in the park. Yeah, citations will be issued. I know everyone is kind of ruminating about the recent stabbing cases in your area. The suspect for that Keamoku case by Walmart was apprehended and was charged in that case and is awaiting trial. The other case is being actively worked by Major Crimes, and hopefully there'll be an arrest made shortly. I can't go into the cause and the specifics at this time on both of those cases due to the case integrity for prosecution. However, Major Okimoto has taken action and is working diligently with patrol units to make more checks of these liquor establishments and more high visibility patrols in the area during bar closure times to diminish the problems resulting from intoxication, which also leads me to the safety tip for the month of June regarding unattended drinks. Where summer's upon us and more young adults are going out and celebrating. We're asking our community members to be more aware of their beverages. There's a growing trend in the mainland of these types of cases. So cover your drinks, never leave it unattended, and don't accept any drinks that don't come directly from the staff of the establishment. Worst case scenario, if you do feel becoming sick or incapacitated, let someone know immediately, whether it be a friend or the staff, so they can get help for you as soon as possible. One last thing before I yield back my time, I just wanted to let the board know that RIMPAC just started yesterday. So there's going to be service members from over 20 countries around the Pacific Rim in town on these naval exercises. So obviously shore leave, you're going to start seeing more and more of these service members out and about. If you have any issues with these people, contact HPD. We're in direct contact with Shore Patrol, and then we can get those situations fixed. Yeah. At this time, I'm going to yield back the rest of my time and take any questions from the board members and the public attendees.
And addressing the recent criminal activity, since I put that on the agenda as well. On our end, in the last 2 to 3 months, I have been called as the chair of the board to represent us in talking about these criminal activities. And I've always quoted your reports with it saying that there's no significant spike in crime. However, we've had some people saying that that is not accurate and that we're downplaying crime in the area. I don't want to believe that, since I feel pretty safe walking around. And I know my board members too, I'm not speaking on behalf of them, but I see them around town walking. Member Rice is like everywhere. So with that being said, what can we do as a neighborhood and as a board even to make sure that we are perceived as a safe place, even with all these high profile criminal activity happening and being highlighted by media?
So I just want to clarify in regards to these criminal breaches. So these criminal breaches are kind of gauged with the particular months and particular times of the year. So obviously during Christmas time, there's going to be an elevated number of thefts in the area due to the fact of Christmas, car break-ins and stuff like that. So when a criminal breach occurs, it's a breach within that particular moment in time. So we're tracking that, and as soon as that breach occurs, then police personnel are moved and reallocated into those positions, or crime reduction units, the undercover units are kind of employed into taking care of those situations. So just realize that obviously we can't be there for all of these cases that occur. And I know that some of the public has been noticing that there was a lot of violent crime in the particular area. So my advice is get our community members more involved. You see something, say something, give us a call, let us determine whether or not it's a valid call. Sometimes a lot of community members say, what, let the next guy call. Don't be that way. Give us a call and let us figure out that situation. I think that's the best way we can attack this whole situation.
Thank you, Lieutenant Scusa. Questions from board members? Community members? Okay, thank you again for being here and for keeping our neighborhood safe. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
Okay, moving on to board business. We have had a vacancy for sub-district 1. Do we have any nominations or anyone interested? No? Okay. It looks like this is going to go over on to the next agenda.
Can I ask a question? Please?
Absolutely.
What area is sub-district 1?
It would be mine and Member Webb's area. So I think it's Kapiolani, Kemoku, that particular. I don't have.
Two guys stand on the street. Is there something
Four-
of somebody?
4K streets, Kapiolani, Kalakaua, King, and Keamo. So we're between the 4K. streets.
Right. Member Chang is right. King, it's that area between King, Kalakaua, Kapiolani, and Kemoku.
I might have somebody.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And if you do want to see the map, check out the NCO
Right.
website. Thank you, Vice Chair Farinas, for that.
Yeah, if you have anybody interested, just have this email Camelia ahead of the meeting. And that'll speed up the process.
Hey, approval of the May 28th, 2024 meeting minutes. Anyone have any questions?
All motion to approve.
Hey, thank you. Second,
Second.
anyone opposed to approval of the minutes? Okay, minutes approved. Thank you, board. Attendance at other meetings. Okay. Senate Bill 3202. I'll turn this over to Member Rose Chang.
Sorry, Charlie. Very quickly, if I may. Is it okay if we do the report from the action committee meeting? Just going along the order of the agenda.
Oh, you missed that. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Vice Chair Chi.
3.3.
Report from the June 13 action committee meeting. Apologies.
No worries. My apologies for not being able to turn on my camera. I am currently stuck in my workplace, so I had to join virtually. My apologies, everyone, for that. Very quickly, my report from the June 13th action committee meeting is that we do have a draft that is completed for our resolution, which establishes a comprehensive community support initiative. This link to this resolution, you can find it in our Google Drive. You do unfortunately have to go back to the May agenda because I'm unable to link it to multiple folders within the Google Drive. But if you go back to the May section of our Google Drive, you can click on the link and find that draft there. I will also go ahead and drop that link into our chat over here. So go ahead, please take a look at it. We were actually intending to bring this up to vote on it because it is completed. I don't know, and if anyone can verify this, maybe Chair Lee, if you can verify this, that'd be great. It is technically not on the agenda because it just says that I'm reporting back from that meeting. is it possible for us to put this to a vote, or at least have discussion on this because it has been in the works for quite a while? Oh, also, I believe you're muted on your end.
That's okay. Sorry. First Vice Chair, can you hear us?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, yeah, we did discuss that. But have the members gotten to read the revised version? Okay, so I think it may be better if we vote on it in the next one.
Okay, that sounds good then. So everyone's homework, in the meantime then, in preparation for the July meeting, please do take a look at that link that I dropped in the chat. Again, it is inside of the May Neighborhood Board Google Drive. So please take a look at it between now and the next meeting, and we can put our heads together and get this done. I know it's been a lot of hard work, and I'm very grateful for everyone for contributing to this resolution. I'm very proud of it, and for everyone for putting our heads together to make something this awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, no
Member
problem.
Mariano.
Yeah, Madam Chair, in keeping with the sunshine law, because the Vice Chair, she was also chairing that action committee meeting, and the resolution was drafted by that. You know, he can make a motion right now to submit it, you know, for us to look at and then review it and then take a vote on it at the next board versus waiting to the next meetings. This way we can send it, look at it, and then discuss it. Is that
Okay. Thank you, Member Mariano. I think we've always had access to that resolution anyway. I don't think we need to make a motion on it because we can just add it to the next agenda.
But to be clear, you know, from the guidance from the neighborhood council, right? They said that we don't want to be perceived as having a separate meeting in itself. And that, so the whole intent of the committee, you know, like when I attended, I recognized myself as a resident, not a member of the board, so that the board can properly recommend or make a motion to submit to the board that resolution. And then that be on record that the committees completed their action, come before the board, and then we have a chance to take a look at it and then go ahead and vote on it at the next meeting.
I think I understand what you're saying, so also then puts a hard copy into the meeting the next person.
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
So, would
Vice
say-
Chair Chi, do you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll go ahead and motion then to put this resolution establishing a comprehensive community support initiative. I'll put it up for review for the upcoming meeting then.
Second.
Okay. Anyone opposed?
Discussion.
Good? Discussion? No? Okay, thank you. This resolution has been in motion since February, so thank you, everyone. We're looking forward to voting on it in July. Thank you for
Wonderful.
Chair Chi.
Thank you. Very quickly, the other portion of what we discussed during the action committee meeting is about how do we increase our community engagement, because there are a lot of people both inside of our community and outside who don't know that we exist. And some things that we did talk about that I just want to put on everyone's radar in case we want to have further discussion about it later on, or if you'd like to join the next action committee meeting to talk more about it, is that we do want to remind folks that we exist. And we talked about ideas on, for example, if there's an event going on, like we have basically a gazillion events going on in Kaka'ako all the time, it's very lively. It would be wonderful if they would invite us to be a part of these groundbreakings or events, so that way we can have a part in that. And we can either have like a tent, a table, something that showcases that we are there and gives people an opportunity to talk to us. For example, like the Kaka'ako Farmers Market. And ultimately, like this neighborhood board is a representation for the mayor and other elected officials to ensure that constituents and community are heard and represented. So how can we leverage other aspects, not just being in person at events, but also, for example, our social media. We have a neighborhood board Instagram for our neighborhood board. So how do we use that to spread awareness? And we kind of got into some lingo that I understand might not be something that everyone here is familiar with, but doing things like spotlights and takeovers where we basically show, this is what it's like to be one of the neighborhood board members, and this is just a typical day in our life, and really showing kind of that down to earth, kind of being on the ground with how we show ourselves. And then kind of the big thing that we talked about otherwise is creating a communications director position within our board. So for example, our board has chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary, but we don't have someone who's a communications director who could manage our PR, our social media, these kinds of things that are really important. So if this is something that we would like to do, we can very much create a communications director position if there's someone who's interested in that. Um, and then the last two things that I think everyone should know is that we would like to ask the city council for funding for our neighborhood board beyond the $1,000. Camellia, maybe this is something you can take back to the NCO. We would like to kind of have a bigger budget so that way we can do these kinds of events and have this presence. And then basically, we would also like to ask for permission from the neighborhood board to allow the Chair Lee, to write a letter to the Kaka'ako Farmers Market to ask them if we can have a table there for free. I think it's very much more polite and professional of us to send that letter and ask them professionally than to just kind of show up and be like, hey, can we have a table? Uh, and yeah, I think this makes it more official and it puts it down in the record books that we ask the farmers market for free space if they don't mind. That is, for the most part, it. Um, I'm more than happy to answer any questions now.
Thank you, First Vice Chair Chi. Questions from the board? Member Moana.
So is the committee making a motion that we consider having another appointed position for officers again and for director of communication?
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Go ahead.
It is also my understanding that this would need to have been put in the agenda in advance, and I do apologize that I did not do that. If it doesn't need to be put in advance, though, then I would be more than happy to make that motion.
I think the motion is for efficiency and communication review. So whatever.
You can speak louder so people can hear.
Yeah. Hey, Dyson, Dylan here. So.
Hello.
We don't need a motion right now, but in the future, whatever comes out of the committee, we want the agenda to be as specific as possible. We're not trying to make things extra complicated, but at the end of the day, it's all about public notice. So this item currently says report from June 13th, 2024 action committee meeting. But you just gave a lot of information and you're asking for action to be taken. So I would recommend that any action is postponed to the next meeting, and all of those items, all those requests for action should be properly listed on the agenda.
Okay, then for the records, since the committee chair made a report and it's being recorded, I would recommend, Madam Chair, that the neighborhood commission capture that, put that into the minutes. So we're gonna have to do a separate report.
Great question. This video recording is actually the primary record of the meeting, and the written is secondary. But everything that we're saying right now is recorded, so that's great.
Right, so yeah, want the record show that the committee reported these items, no motion was made. We're going to capture those subjects so that we don't lose it in the next meeting.
Yep. Thank you, Member Moria. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, First Vice Chair Chi, board members. Moving on to the next agenda item, attendance at other meetings. Okay, item 3.5, 73202, Member Rodney Chang.
Withdrawing, so I'm being signed.
Thank you. It is now 6:33 p.m. We are making it on good time. Thank you, everyone. Presentation, bus route modifications, either Kenyang or Yusa from City.
Aloha, everyone. I am Kent from the Department of Transportation Services with the City and County of Honolulu. With your permission, Chair, I would like to share my screen, please. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Can everyone see the PowerPoint that's up? Hello?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Okay. Okay. So for these upcoming bus service route modifications, it will be effective Sunday, August 18th, 2024. And there's going to be a lot of changes. So I'm going to go through these slides as quickly as possible. All I ask is that you all please hold your questions until the end. That way we can keep to schedule. All right. So the first changes will be with the Route 9. This route, as you can see, comes from Salt Lake all the way to the KCC area in Kaimoki. And there will be changes for the Route 7 that would affect the Ala Moana Kaka'ako area. So Route 9 will be discontinued. There will be no more service on Route Valkenburg Street and Center Drive. But however, there are alternate routes. And these alternate routes already serve the area pretty well. So we have the Route C, the Dillingham Boulevard, downtown Ala Moana. We have the Route 3, the downtown Ala Moana Kaimati. And then there will be a new Route 7 that we are modifying that will also service the Ala Moana area as well. And as you can see, there's also Route 13, Route 40, 42, 51, Route 52, also going through Ala Moana, Kaka'ako area. Okay, so the Route 7 will be modified. It will be split into two routes. There will be one that goes to Kalihi Kahala, and then there's a new Route 307. I'm not going to go into details because it doesn't really involve the Ala Moana, Kaka'ako area, but it will make things more efficient for the Route 7. All right, so the new Route 7 will include, like I said before, Ala Moana Kaka'ako. It would have a 7 a.m. PM peak schedule. It will provide additional route service for Kalihi. Kalihi is a very high transit area, and so that's why it's mentioning a lot of times. And span of service, as you can see, and this one is not relevant enough. So with these changes, Route 7 will go through Ala Moana. Specifically, it will go through via Queen Street, Waimanu Street, Kona Street, and Kapilani Boulevard. Okay, and then for Route 9S, this one will be restructured as well, but Route 20 is the one that goes to Ala Moana. And what will be discontinued is just the Kapilani Park loop segment. So if you look at this map right here, it will just be cut in half. So instead of going through the whole park, it will just be 1/3 of the park. Okay, and then in addition to that, we have the new Route 200, which was renamed from the Route 9S. And that will also come and service the Kapilani area. Okay, and in addition, we have the Route 18 and the Route 24 that will be discontinued as well. If you see in this map, this is where they currently service, but rest assured, Route 18 and 24, we have other service options available in the areas, so they'll also be served. And in short, it may require the rider to either take a different route or go to a different bus stop. But we've done our studies, we looked at the ridership reports, we've seen that it is the best way to optimize what's best for the bus and what's best for the rider. And because Route 18 will be discontinued, you have these routes that will already service such areas. And then Route 24, because it's connected with the Route 18, they're interlined, meaning that Route 18 becomes the Route 24 after it's done with its route. They will also have no service on these streets right here, but, sorry?
Yeah.
Mr. Young, member Mariano pointed out that we're still on the same slide.
Yeah, you're talking about all these various routes, which has a big impact on ridership and also the population, and it has some impact on our area. But we're only looking at Route 9 and 7 of the screen. If you have other slides, could you please show it? Or
Oh, I am so sorry. You're not able to see it?
presentation?
Oh, you're not able to see the rest of the slides?
No,
No.
not at all.
We're just
Oh,
saying
okay,
9
okay.
and 7.
There's some technical difficulties. Hold on. Let me restart this stop share. Okay, sorry about that.
If not, if you can drop it if you can drop the
Oh, okay.
slide onto the screen, then you can show it up here while it's talking about.
Okay. Yes, certainly. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay. Let's see. Attachment. Oops.
Also, Madam Chair, it gives us a time, since he has all this presentation, he's giving all of this to us, and it's going to be effective August, which is okay.
August
It's
18th.
enough. August 18th, but I would recommend that what he does is to work with the neighborhood commission to get this out in media and the news and the television, because this changes in the route have a really big impact. Now, I do know that they have handyman to take care of the ADA, but there's also other ADA that ride the bus. For handyman, and some of these routes may have an impact on my commute from work to home or to go shopping. So just want to make sure that is well in advance.
Maybe Mr. Yang was going to get to that. So there is some kind of public education.
But I'm trying to save time. That's going to be done.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Yang,
I got some of that.
You're good.
okay. Mr. Yang, can you try to share screen again?
Yes. So I'm sharing it right now. Are you able to see it?
Not yet.
I sent the file as well. Are you able to open that file? Hold on. Let's see. Are you able to see my screen now?
Hold on real quick. We're attempting to pull it up on MCO's end. Okay, Mr. Yang, are you able to see that?
Yeah. I can see you guys. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Can you let us know which part of the presentation you had left off? I know we kind of got stuck with that one.
Okay. Yeah. No problem. I'll tell you which slide to be on then. Some technical difficulties here. Okay. So let's go to Route 7. Route 7. We can pass that. Okay, so you can, let's see, slide Route 200. Okay, so I was on Route 20, I believe, or was it Route 200?
Yeah, Route 20.
Yeah.
That has an impact.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right. I can continue from here, and I'll let you know as we scroll down. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, so the Route 9S will be restructured. It will be the new, it'll be a new route called Route 200. But Route 20, which goes from Waikiki Airport, Aloha Stadium, just the Kapiolani Park loop. So it won't go the whole park. It'll go like 1/3 of the park instead. But the new 200 will cover that ground. It will cover the whole park. So that's the 9S, but it'll be renamed the Route 200. Okay, scroll down, please. Okay, so it will absorb the Kapilani Park loop and it'll cover all these areas. It'll service those areas. So whatever the 20 couldn't, this could definitely take its place for that area, that side of the area. Okay, and you can please scroll down, please. Okay, one more time. And so here's the map, what it will look like. The new Route 200 is the magenta purple one, and then the Route 20 will be the blue. As you can see, it is just a 1/3 of the park instead of the whole park. What it used to be was the whole park. Okay, and if you can scroll down, please. So 1824, as you see in this map here, it will be discontinued. They are an interlining route, meaning once 18 finishes over there at Kapahulu, it becomes the Route 24. And because they're interlined routes, they follow up on each other. And we're discontinuing it because of ridership. And then also we're looking at where people are going. And because of that, we look at all the service areas that are already covered by our other routes. So if you can scroll down, please. These other routes here take in place of what Route 18 already does. So these areas cover all that area that Route 18 does. So that's why we are discontinuing that. Scroll down, please. And then Route 24, the same reason why. These routes also cover these areas too. And because they're interlined route, it will also be discontinued. Scroll down, please. With that in mind, the Route 23 will cover what the Route 24 usually do was to take people to Aina Haina. So Route 23 will be modified to go to Aina Haina. But this is the old Route 23 that's current, which takes people from Ala Moana, Waikiki to Kahala. That segment will be discontinued, but there are other routes that will cover that. If you scroll down, please. Other routes such as the Route 2 and 2L, we will be expanding service from Waikiki all the way to Kahala on select buses. The new Route 7 will also go there to Kahala. And as well, we have the Route 14 in the St. Louis Kapahulu area that will do what the Route 24 essentially does. Okay, and scroll down, please. And as I said before, the Route 23, although the segment between Ala Moana to Kahala is gone, we will service Aina Haina for anyone that wants to go to Aina Haina. But everything that from Aina Haina to Sea Life Park will be the same. Scroll down, please. And this is what it looks like. The Route 2 will cover the section between Ala Moana, Waikiki, KCC to Kahala. People will have to transfer if they need other routes, but the transfers, we have looked into it. They're not far from each other, and they're going to be more frequent. We're looking at the scheduling, making sure everyone has the bus that they're going to their destination. Okay, if you scroll down, please. And this is basically all the changes that will happen by August 18th. We're letting you know ahead of time, and if you have any more questions and comments, I know everyone will, you can drop an email and call us at this contact information. You scroll down, please. Right here, yes. So, okay, so those are the modifications we are doing. The purpose of why we're doing it is that we're trying to reduce the redundancies in our transit network. It's to help us reallocate resources to areas that need more service. So it's backed by a reason. We're not doing it because, we're trying to, cut service for people. They're all supported by our ridership counts, our what's in demand, staffing, and what other resources that we have. We're trying to optimize a better network that balances efficiency, frequency, and coverage. So that's my presentation. Please let me know your comments.
Okay, Mr. Yang, thank you.
Thank you.
Secretary Rice.
Hi there. Thank you very much for your presentation. To Member Mariano's point, because I had the same thoughts, how and when will you start communicating to the population at large that these changes will take effect?
Yes. So currently, with all those routes that we're doing, we're putting ridership alerts on the bus stops that service these routes. We're also going to city council members, your neighborhood boards that are affected, like this one right here. We're giving you some time to be notified of what's happening. We're also going to put it on our website. We're letting everyone know via email who rides these routes. And also it's going to be on the bus app. For sure, everyone's going to be notified that there will be changes like this.
When will you start the notifications?
The notifications have already started. We already started with the neighborhood boards. For the posting on the bus stop itself, it's coming. It's going to be, I'm hoping by July. We're still getting everything together for that.
Will you be reaching out to the news media as well, the newspapers, the radio, the TV stations, informing them and asking them to spread this update?
Currently, we don't have that in our plan, but thank you for that suggestion. We're going to write that down, and then we will put that into our budget and then try to reach out if we can.
Thank you. Number 10.
Sounds to me like with changing the routes, that there's going to be a lot more transfers for people to get on different areas. Is that what's going to happen?
Yes, in short, it may require some riders to transfer and to take a different route on a different bus stop, but it's just for the time being. Because first, with a lot of changes that happen for riders is that they're thinking about where they're going and how to get there. It might seem hectic at first, but it's actually not. They just have to look at what bus will take them to that destination. They either have to transfer or they'll just take a different bus that'll just take them there the same way, where they don't even have to transfer. But yes, some people might have to transfer, but some don't. So it's a mixed bag of what the changes will happen to the riders.
Okay, so following up on the bus app or website, you still have that. If you want to go from one address to another address, you can plug it in. It'll tell you what buses to take and where to transfer.
On the bus website?
Yeah, will you be able to do that? Let's say I'm to Makaha, and if I'm not going to take the rail, will I be able to get that information on the website to say, okay, you're here, you take this bus, you transfer here, you take this bus, and then you transfer here, and you take that bus. Is that going to be available?
Yeah, we're still working on that. So everything will change with the route modifications. The scheduling will change. If you use Google Maps, it will also change too. So it'll suggest like many routes for you. It'll tell you where to transfer, where to take that bus. So with these changes by August 18th, we're hoping that it will be all updated. So you won't be left behind.
Thank you.
Member Mariano.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, thanks for the presentation. This is an eye opener. So first question I have multiple questions, but I want to keep this short. One, did you have a public hearing? Did you have a public hearing to get the public's opinion on this type? Because this is a major radical change. Two, I'm not sure if you actually ride the bus, but maybe you do, but I ride the bus on occasions. And, without looking where the stops are, there's not enough shelter on there, particularly for inclement weather, also the heat. And then when you look at peak periods, particularly when you're looking at up and down Kaimukī, and you have the schools during the school timeframe, those peak periods, unless you're going to double up or triple up on buses going on that route, you're going to have a major catastrophe and pickup. And so if I'm going to school at UH and I'm going to miss the bus because 3 buses went by full because it wasn't planned well, that's not it. So is it possible that you can delay the opening or the transition until you can get the services done, a little more study done, particularly on the transfer points, because it's not just myself, but I'm talking for everyone that rides the bus. And it's just going to be something that's not conducive for all ridership.
Right. Yes. Excellent question, sir. Yeah. So I do ride the bus myself. I commute a couple times a week. I like to ride the bus because it's convenient. I don't have to deal with traffic. But yes, to answer your question, the public hearing input, that's something that's always been the backbone of what should be done. A lot of this changes happen from studies, from research that we already do. Public hearings and stuff like that. That's why I'm here right now, getting comments, suggestions. Postponing it, we will have to look into that and see. As for your questions into the shelters, that has to do with the needs and what the ridership is like for that particular bus stop. So it depends. Depends on the area, depends how many people are using that bus stop. If it's an area where there's only one person using it, they're not going to have funds to build a shelter, because building a shelter means maintaining it, and maintaining it means like you need the demand for it, as the bus it tries to service everyone. It's a public service, right? So we're trying our best to put money in where it requires it.
Okay, sorry, real quick. Mr. Young, I know the question was what were the procedures that encourage public forum, and I wasn't sure if I got a clear answer for that, and I don't think
what I thought I heard him say was, by having this presentation at the neighborhood board, this is the check mark for the public hearing. My point is, there should have been a public hearing, just like when we put in bike lanes or anything else, so we can get public input.
Right.
Studies are great, but studies are only good as what you're putting into the study. And public forum provides ridership information, particularly when you're changing major routes. Maybe for the good, but you're changing major routes that's going to impact the population.
Thank you, Member Moreno. So, Mr. Yang, can we reference somewhere the result of these studies, just so we have an idea of how the routes and the additional transfers were justified?
Yeah, I don't have them now. They're in my office, but I have the email that I provided in the contact information. So you guys can send me it there, and then we can get back to you. There's actually a lot of information, so it will take a lot of unpacking to do.
Okay, thank you. And then one more, and then move on. Oh, okay, 2 more, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item. Member Webb, and then Secretary Rice.
I have a question concerning transfers and Kapuna. Now, you're talking about transfers. Now there's going to be probably a lot more than what it used to be. So you're talking a block, 2 blocks, 10 blocks, 20 blocks. Because a lot of the Kapuna can't access GPS. They don't have a phone. Can't access GPS on their phone. There are years and years and years of this is, I know this route, I know this, I know where to get off, I know where to, and a lot of times, no offense to bus drivers, but if you ask the bus driver, hey, a question, a lot of them won't answer because they don't want to be bothered. So my concern is for the Kapuna and the transfers and what impact is going to have on those, the elderly that get confused sometimes riding the bus normally. You talk about big changes, you're going to impact that sphere of people. I mean, this isn't as simple as, snap your fingers and everything's gonna be okay. You're talking about changing the lives of a lot of people that ride the bus.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We know because a lot of our riders are the senior and the Kapuna. They're most of our ridership, if anything. So besides like we using the phone, the internet, we have a hotline they can call that will tell them what routes to take, where to go. We have a bunch of printed materials that will tell you about the changes. We have people that will help them at our transit station. Um, we are prepared for this. We will have mail outs, so we will go to their house, the residency, and they will be notified via the mail of the changes with a good map and everything. And if they have questions, they can always come to us. They can always come to the bus. Um, they will not be left in the dark, I assure you.
I hope not.
Okay, Secretary Rice, and then we'll move on.
I'm fine, thank you.
Second Vice Chair of Finance.
Mr. Yang, could you utilize the public service announcements? A lot of elderly and maybe not so savvy with using apps, maybe not so much, just other means of accessibility to information. So PSAs through all the various medias and sources, please.
Certainly, certainly. We will put that down on our notes and we will follow up with that.
Yeah, I don't think you need a budget for that, so.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yang, for your presentation today. That was very informative, and to the board members as well for bringing up your concerns. So hopefully we can get more information.
Well, Madam Chair, while he's done, I wanted to make it known for the record that I'm not sure what the rest of the board members think, but I kind of oppose that this quick reaction to changing all the routes is going to have a big impact. And that if you would like to, for the record, to show that I suggested that they look at considering changing the date so they have more time, more planning time, more things for the app so that the public can get awareness, particularly when they change routes.
Thank you, Member Mariana. Mr. Yang, thank you as well for taking all the input feedback from our board this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I will consider all those inputs. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, moving on, item 4.2, Waiapoa with Mr. Isaiah Pacho and your team.
And our big team. Yes.
You're not changing any routes on you.
Can I face this way? I gotta face that. Thank you for having me today, Chair Lee, and members of the board again. I came down in person today. I don't think I was here in person last time, so happy to see everyone again. I wanted to start with talking about our project team that we brought here today. But before that, again, introducing myself, Isaiah Sato with RM Tower Corporation. I'm the entitlement planner for this project, and we're assisting the developers. So from the development team, we have Kathleen Cook here, we have Garrett Matsunami and Kaeo Kane, as well as Laura Kodama. There's Quo Partners, who's also one of the development partners. Harry Lake is joining us online, and we also have members. Hi, Harry. And we also have members from Commitment Schools here. We have Hua Hal and Raul Serrano here as well to help answer any questions. We wanted to bring the whole team here to meet you guys, and talk through this. But I'm excited to, be here and present the project. This is our first public outreach. The first time we're going out to the community there. I know we got a lot of things on the agenda, so I'll try to move through this quickly. But okay, thank you. So the applicants, Castle and Cook, Homes Away, and Co Partners are proposing to develop a mixed-use residential development with 1,032 for-sale residential units with 60% affordable units. And on the ground floor, there's going to be 68,000 square feet of commercial space and over 40,000 square feet of ground floor plaza and promenade. We're going to be going through the HRS 201H application process there. As you guys are familiar, through that process, we're requesting zoning, various exemptions to zoning and various fees while providing a community, affordable housing.
Could you please say exactly where this is, the streets?
I got a few slides.
Okay,
Yeah, a few
thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Right. No problem. I wanted to start with talking about the project's name or the project's inoa. So our name is Waiakoa, and what that directly translates to is warriors water. And Waiakoa highlights our most precious resource, our wai, or our water. Waiakoa evokes a water belonging to a koa, or a warrior. And our intent for this is to provide a project that will provide housing for our local people, our Kanaka, as a home and a community gathering place for the area as well. The next three slides, I have Castle and Cook co-partners and our architect design partners I'm covering, but just gonna go through it real quick. Castle and Cook's been here since 1968, and they've developed over 24,000 homes in Hawaii itself. You guys might be familiar with Mililani Maka, Royal Kunia, nearby in Kaka'ako, there's 400 Kiave. I have a slide that shows that location as well. And in Mililani and Waipio area, there's Mehula Vista and Koa Ridge there as well. This next slide shows Koa Partners, who is helping work on this project as well. They have experience developing office, healthcare, residential, and mixed-use projects. Some projects include Ka'ono Ulu, which is an 88-acre mixed-use project in Kihei that they're currently working on. There's Trinity Mills Station TOD, which is a 25-acre development, full TOD, so mixed-use office, residential, hotel, retail, public park space. They also worked on the St. David Surgical Hospital, as well as the villas on Town Lake. Our architect for this project is going to be Design Partners, and forgot to mention, but Ryan is here as well from the architect team here. And Design Partners, they've really worked with Castle and Cook and worked successfully in Hawaii on a lot of projects. I mean, they've designed Mililani Malka, Koa Ridge, 400 Kiave, a lot of various high rises and developments around Kaka'ako and the Moana area. This next slide shows our project site. And our project is located at 756 Awahi Street on a 4.2 acre lot. So it's a relatively large lot there. To kind of orient yourselves, on the Makai side is the bottom of the image, Malpa is the top. On the Makai side, it's Awahi Street. On the Ewa side, it's Cook Street. On the Malpa side, Ho'okaina Street as well. So there's 3 existing warehouse buildings on site. You guys might be familiar with the UFC gym. Tesla, so that's the location of our project site. This next slide shows the Kaia'ulu o Kaka'ako master plan in Kaka'ako, and there's a lot of information here, but just wanted to quickly highlight what's been done in the past and what we're looking forward to in the future. So our project, or if you look at some of the past projects, so in the orange is where we show increment 1, we show SALT and block F towards the bottom of the image right on Moana Boulevard. Block E, the collection, 400 Kiave. Block B, which Castle and Cook developed, as well as Kiaho Place above that. Looking to the future, in increment 2 in blue is where our project is. So we're at block D, Waiakoa, and we're surrounded by block C on the other side is Pahuina project there, and along Moana Boulevard, there's also Kali'u by Prospect and Aliyah, which is by Kobayashi Group, right on Moana Boulevard. On the direct Diamond Head side of our project is Ulana, which is the Ward Village project there as well. This next slide shows our project overview. Again, 1,032 for sale residential units. 60% of those would be affordable for residents earning 140% AMI and below. The unit mix studios to 3 bedrooms, primarily 1 and 2 bedrooms. We're really focusing on that size families is what we see as a need for the area. We are providing 3 bedrooms as well for some of the larger families. Open space, I got a better image on the next slide, but we are providing about 40,000 square foot of open space, plaza and promenade on the ground floor. So this next slide shows our ground floor plan that's about to come up. So kind of orient yourself on this slide first. On the left is Cook Street, Makai side. Excuse me, on the left is Awahi Street, the Makai side. On the top is Cook Street, the Ewa side. And on the right is Ho'okaina on the Malka side of the project. But I wanted to highlight along Awahi Street, there's going to be the Central Community Plaza, which is going to be a large public plaza, over 25,000 square feet. That's going to be for really publicly serving, neighborhood serving that area there.
along Cook Street. Right now we have a 40-foot wide plus frontage, which is about another 15,000 square feet of open promenade there. In purple is our commercial space. So pretty much the entire ground floor, as much as we can, is going to be dedicated towards commercial retail on the project site, and the residential lobby areas are shown in orange. Our next slide shows a rendering of the Central Community Plaza. So that's the plaza that's fronting Awahi Street. So this rendering is taken if you're standing on that Cook and Awahi Street corner, you're looking kind of Diamond Head, Mauka direction. But the Central Plaza, it's envisioned as a neighborhood gathering place, a place for recreation, entertainment, and culture. So you really want it to be a well-activated space that really serves the area there. This is a conceptual rendering. I wanted to put that out there. This is not the type of trees or exactly the benches that we have in place. So we'll be working on that design with the community and with Kumeme schools as that progresses. Our next slide, so we're kind of going up the tower now. We did the ground floor. This floor is the 2nd through the 7th level, is the podium, parking podium, and the residential liner there. So our parking, we're gonna have 3 parking stalls. A little difficult to see on this slide, but on the bottom right corner in gray is that parking. That bottom third about is residential parking. And right above that is commercial parking. So this is a typical floor plan this is the 2nd level floor plan, excuse me. And on the full liner, as you'll see along Street and Cook, those squares, that's gonna be a residential liner. So we're really hoping to activate the frontage. So from the street frontage on Awahi and Cook, you won't see like a parking garage or a parking screen. You'll see residential units. You'll see residential units. And I got a rendering that's supposed to be coming up on the next slide. Oh, there it is. Thank you. So this is a rendering of what it's going to look like on Oahu Street. Again, a conceptual rendering. There at the bottom left, you see the edge of the community plaza. But when you look at the building, we really want it to be very inviting, open windows, see people there, not just a parking garage or a parking screen there. On the level 8, moving our way up, is the rec deck level. And we'll be providing on-site amenities for guests, includes pool, children's play area, fitness area, dog park area as well. So it'll be a private dog park for our next slide is a typical floor plan of floors 9 all the way to floors 42. And our 2 buildings, we're naming it temporarily as the Mauka and the Makai Tower, but they'll both have the same floor plan, 13 units per floor, 26 per level, all the way through the tower there. One thing we wanted to reiterate, our project team, we're really proud, and one of our goals is to provide housing for Kama'aina there, So of our 1,032 units, we're going to be providing about 620 or 60% of those for-sale units to qualifying residents earning up to 140% AMI and below, or the area median income and below. And our intent is to, really house local families such as teachers, flight attendants, nurses, other careers there.
So, yeah, what is that amount in dollars?
I will come back to that. Yeah, thank you very much. This next slide, the slide that's going to be coming up talks about the Pico. So our project is, it fronts the Pico of the Kaia'ulu Kaka'ako master plan, at the intersection of Cook and Oahu Street. And this Pico is envisioned to become a gathering place for recreation, entertainment, and culture. We also will support retail along Oahu Street. So if you guys have noticed, we're planning on doing a lot of a good retail corridor along Oahu Street. So we're focusing a lot of our frontage there. And we'll also be really supporting the park-to-park connection. So that's the Mother Waldron Park to the Mauka side down to the Gateway Park along Cook Street. So that's what that 40-foot wide promenade we have is there. And the last 2 slides are a little more technical towards the 201H, but wanted to include them here. But we're going to be requesting exemptions through our project. Off the top, we're requesting 6.5 floor area ratio or density. That's consistent with the Kaia'ulu Kaka'ako master plan, but that is one of the major things we'll be requesting with the 201H. There's other various zoning exemptions that we're looking at. The yard structures will be encroaching into some of the yard dedication of public facilities. We're looking at exemption from the minimum land requirements for these public facilities, park dedication. At the bottom two are some of the city fees, building permit fees, utility, water, wastewater fees. We're going to be seeking exemptions or deferrals from these fees. And the last slide I had today talks about a very high level milestone schedule. So we're all there on the left, neighborhood board, our first outreach here, and we'll be kind of moving through. This is mostly a 201H schedule. So from the second point, we're jumping into the HHFDC review. So we're hoping to submit our application to the state HHFDC. They'll review it. Our board will take a look at it, and then we'll go to council. So we're hoping to get to council by the end of this year. And from then we'll have our entitlements and we'll start working on our construction drawings and working on our permits and hopefully starting construction first or second quarter 2026. And thank you. That's the main thing. For the prices at 140% AMI.
Say again?
The prices at 140% AMI. So I'm sure you guys are getting familiar with AMIs at this point, but for sale projects, it depends on the interest rate at the time. So if we look at an interest rate from 5.5% to 6.5%, let's say for a 2-bedroom, that could be anywhere from around 580 to 750,000 there. And for
square footage.
But I'm sorry, when I asked about AMI, it was like, so what, how much is the salary? What's the income?
Yeah, so that
for this would be, if it's a 2-bedroom, you would assume it's 2 individuals, their earnings, right? 2 adults.
Right, so the income schedule will be based on how many adults you have. So you could be a single person or you could be a family of 5. They take that number into account. So for let's just say a 2-person family at 140% AMI is 155,000. Currently, both these numbers on the income schedule and on the sales side get updated annually. They're controlled by, it actually starts at the federal level, it comes down to the state, but it's something that they look at and update annually. Thanks.
Okay, question. Treasurer Moana.
Yes, so collectively earning 155,000.
Yeah,
correct?
with a So if they have a child, it would change. Like for 3-person, it'd be up to 175. Example. So it could be 3 is not 3 earners necessarily. It's a family.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But that's still, and then for a condo, that would be 580,000 to 750. What would be the deposit for that?
I'll have to check, but I believe it's.
I believe we're looking at the deposit to be 5% of the purchase price, 5% of the purchase price as of now. It hasn't been set yet, but it'll be lower compared to a typical market rate unit, which is usually 20% of the purchase price on a new condo. So 5 to 10, we're still working it out at this point.
Okay, so it's rounded up to 600,000, 5%, that's only $30,000. Is that $30,000 deposit?
Yeah, you said 600,000.
That's correct.
Yeah. That is, tell me. I don't know how long it takes somebody who's earning 75,000 to save rent or whatever. I mean.
That's not including maintenance fees.
Oh, yeah.
Taxes and other.
Yeah, okay, so that's my question. So how, we've seen what happened with Howard Hughes and Keiki Lahana when they hand over these affordable, right? And then their maintenance fee started at 400. Because if you're saying you need to income qualify, then you're saying that you can afford this much for your mortgage, right? You can afford this much for your maintenance. But if the maintenance in 3 years or even 5 years, if it goes up from 400 to 1,200, that's a lot. So how do you guys prepare for that? Were there lessons learned? Like, do you go talk to Howard Hughes and go, what happened? How do we make sure we don't do that to our consumers?
That's a great question, and I'll start. Case can add in, but I think maintenance fees has been on top of mind for a lot of people, not just for new projects with the insurance going up and all of that. We see articles in the newspaper, a lot of a lot of condo buildings are having challenges with there, but Castle and Cook and Co-Partners, they really created a design, and on our amenity deck, too, we show it, but they created a design that they're hoping to be equitable. So the amenity deck, for example, is going to be open to affordable units as well as the for sale units. We're providing a pool, dog spa, but we're not looking at providing things that are too over the top or things that would be hard to maintain. We're taking a closer look and a fine tune at these details to keep the maintenance fees, reasonable.
Yeah, that's 100%. Isaiah, when it really comes down to it, the density allows us to get scale, right? If we don't have scale for these types of projects, you won't allow to get, we're trying to have a situation where we're getting scale and bring down the maintenance fee. That's the biggest thing to us, because knowing the pressure point that local families are having to deal with nowadays, and that where does it end? So that's us having the scale and we're trying to manage it. And knowing our history within Hawaii of delivering 25,000 homes, we're going to be here for a long haul. And we're going to try and help manage this, because for us, I know you probably all have family members that have owned a home in Milwaukee. They progressively have moved up throughout the process. So our intention is to always be with this person, trying to help them manage it. There's a lot of things that are out of our control, but to the best of our ability, we will be there as a partner with that. And we've shown that over the years of developing homes in Hawaii.
Okay, so Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate, they own the land. It's their money. They're putting up the money, maybe. You're the Castle and Cook, you're the developer, and that's kind of the relationship. So in terms of, no.
Castle and Cook is not putting up the money.
Oh, okay.
You're purchasing the property.
Oh, you're seeing it, yeah.
Yes, and
okay,
we're potentially working with them as a partner on the commercial.
Okay.
But we are purchasing the land to be a partner.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. It also brings me to the question of, and I've asked other developers this, when we talk about building something for local families, some of them have kids, some of them have kids and aging parents. I rarely hear anyone talking about daycare facilities for Keiki or Kapuna. You know what I mean? In the neighborhood. And so and the reason why I thought it was interesting that if it's Kamehameha Schools, Bishop Estate, so there's Howard Hughes over here, Kamehameha Schools, all these huge landowners, and they all have their master plans. No one's building daycare, no one's building elder care. And but you keep saying for local families, we're missing something.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And, for our project at this stage, we don't know exactly who's going to go into these commercial spots, but it could potentially be for elder care, for daycare. 2 weeks ago. So it's daycare is top of mind, I think, for a lot of us. It's very expensive.
It's something that you have to build when you build this. You know what I mean? Because there's plumbing. You want to have a reheat kitchen. You don't need a full kitchen for cooking, just reheat. You need toilets, that are wheelchair accessible for the elders, and smaller toilets for the little ones. I mean, there's some built-in things you need to do. So you can't just be like, oh, you know what I mean? It can't be a retail space. So I think it does need some thought, a forethought.
I think definitely 100% agree with you. That there needs to be that thought of where we're at is still we're at a conceptual aspect of where we are in design. The first quarter of the game, when it really comes down to it, we can take these considerations in and potentially look at it with our partners, what the ground floor can be. But if you looked at the ground floor, it will be community centered. I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be something in the neighborhood that they don't have and they need.
Yes. Because, just to also, sorry to be at this point, but also if you build like a park aspect, both the KK and the Kapuna will want to use that, right, during the day. And that's great. You want to have a public space being used like all the time, right, in the right ways. And so that would make sure it has a nice flow of use. And also all of the people who live in those units who are going to get the noise from people enjoying the parks, they need to have a warning that says, don't complain about the noise. Like, you're above a park. You know what I mean? Like there has to be, I mean.
It's disclosed like that kind of thing. And by the way, to your point, Mother Walton Park has been there for a long time, and what's really good about this project for us is that we've met with a lot of people in the area. By the way, including CDA, HFDC, and that's a great point about Puna in the area, especially the opportunity with Mother Walton Park. So I'm not exactly sure what the plans are for the master plan of the entire area, including the schools. But that's a great point. I've already handled that in the future because we're gonna get it older.
Yeah, and then, sorry, another thing, I just visited the artist lofts and, they have this kind of courtyard in the middle. And they have, every unit has access to a grow space. So they provide water and it's an elevated area where they can grow food. That's another thing I think local families want access to, someplace, I don't know how that fits in to this, but having grow space where people can grow food, I think would be.
Yeah, no, that's a great.
Madam Chair.
Member Moana.
Yeah, okay, so all of this sounds really good. Obviously, there's a lot more questions, but has there been considerations? Because, we continually talk about affordable housing, right? Or make it affordable. Has there been consideration, or would you consider of the 620 units that's for sale for affordable housing, that maybe the developer working with the Kamehameha School to set aside maybe 310 just to be affordable rentals? That way, because then you can have more individuals in the complex to live. Okay, because not everyone can afford to buy. And then it's mixed use. So I understand you're going to have some businesses on the side, so you can offset some of that cost to the businesses, giving them the tax incentive so that at least 310 units are set aside just for affordable rentals for those incomes, 75,000 or less. Because right now, that's the problem.
Thank you for that comment.
Sorry, it certainly was considered as we were planning this project. And as we worked closely together with the other developers as well, in line with what Jeff does for affordable housing. And we understand that Alita along the Boulevard is for the luxury side of things. Across the street at Block C would be Stanford Cars project, which does have line 10 and rentals. And as we work closely together, that would be the market Stanford's going for compared to Alita. And for us, we're getting that 140 we hope that really needs help as well. Consistent with what we've done in Mid-Atlantic and Orange as well. But we were considering that in the past and not seeking to seek subsidy for that type of housing in this particular.
Okay, so word means that you stop considering it.
Or at this point, for rentals, for subsidized rentals, we were not. Because not a requirement.
Yes.
But the follow part is for, I think, council member, the chair, Tommy Waters, when we talked about other developments, what's for the public interest? What things are you putting in that will benefit the public that's surrounding, not just for your unit?
Thank you for that comment, Member Mariano. I'll probably start this one, but I wanted to reiterate on that last question. Our project is not going to be subsidized, so we're not seeking, public financing. We're not looking at tax credits. It's going to be completely privately funded affordable housing on this project like that. For the community serving area, I mean, it's kind of what you see here. Like, so this ground floor, the Pico, the community plaza, promenade, it's going to be open to the public. So currently the plan is for that land to stay with women's schools, and that'll be really a neighborhood community serving area, similar to other areas that you see in Kaka'ako with that open community frontage in its place.
Yeah, one of the larger blocks in the area, we were comfortable with the amount of units that we put on this project. Some may have thought that it could have ended up on more units, be more dense, but with this part, it was a perfect project we built for the customer. But we've been doing throughout the years. And again, on the bottom floor, the commercial will definitely be public serving potential growth here possibly. So we're and just to clarify on your last question, Mr. Mariano, when it comes down to it, at Core Ridge, we are doing that 87 and below, 120s and below. So we might not have it here. We do have other projects that we are serving that. So.
Yeah, but that's not in the Kaka'ako.
Right.
And so my concern is for this community area here, so that we can make it fair and equitable for others.
Thank you. I understand. Just wanted to say that.
So I have a quick question. I know you guys haven't done the drawings yet. So you're looking at 1,000+ units, 26 per floor. So you're looking at about 39, 40 stories.
42 stories.
42
42 stories, 400 feet.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the number in my, okay, on the floors. Okay, I was close.
Okay, board members, any further questions?
Invite them back.
Yeah, we can get your permits.
Is that member Farringer?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Isaiah,
Member Farringer.
Isaiah, can you?
Yes.
Hi, thank you for being here tonight and for your whole team being there. I'm sorry I'm not present, but I am online and I have a question regarding your exemptions. Would you mind going back a couple?
It's a little delayed, but should be going.
So you went over those rather quickly, and if you could explain them again, and particularly wastewater exemptions and some of those exemptions regarding that infrastructure, if you could explain. You are talking privately funded, but these exemptions really are public funds that you're asking for in another way. So a little bit more information about it would be great.
Yeah, no, thank you for that comment, member Farringer. So the bottom two lines, city fees, we generally lumped in water, wastewater fees. So these are fees that we request exemptions at city council. And generally what you see in other 201H projects like the Stanford Car, other projects is building permit fees can be hundreds of thousands of dollars, fire plan review fees, the stormwater connection fees, the facility fees for water and wastewater. I wrote exemption or deferral in there. Typically, water defers payment, so not at the building permit time, but at the time of occupancy. So we still usually pay the water fees at that time. For wastewater, we're requesting an exemption from the facility charges fee, and that fee is based on the fixture units, which is essentially engineered term for how many toilets and sinks and other things they have ratios and calculations that get to that number, but we'll be requesting exemptions for the affordable portion of the projects. 100% of the project, we're requesting 60% off essentially for the wastewater fees.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? Community members?
Sorry,
One more, President Webb.
sorry. Do you still have to pay the Department of Education? Is there some kind of education fee for, when you pull more families into a community? Then the thought is that we need to build more public schools. Is there still that?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, member Iwamoto. So there's a school impact fee that DOE has, and they have impact zones, essentially two zones, the leeward area, the town area, let's say. So new projects that are providing residential development, they have a fee per unit.
Okay.
So with the 201H, then they don't allow exemptions from the school impact fees for 201H. However, with the governor's proclamation, which is still active, it's at the 7th version right now, there is a potential to request an exemption from the school impact fees for housing projects that are primarily affordable. That's something outside of the 201H process. Once we finish the 201H, we would need to work with the state agency to see if that exemption is possible for the project. But generally, all developments need the school impact fees.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Sato, and your entire Dean, thanks for having us on the front side of your process, getting this up. So we appreciate you all being here tonight.
Thank you, Cheka.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Give us an update when.
Keep you updated. We can come back to member Mariana. We can come back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please consider the rental portion.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4.3, dog parks. Ms. Robin Hensky from Councilmember from some town offices online.
Hello. Okay, yes. Hello, everyone. Hi. So council member, it's just opening up a line of this communication of potential dog parks for the Kaka'ako Moana area. And we've received a couple calls for recommendations from constituents for Kaka'ako mini park. It's at an intersection. I'm sure folks are familiar with it, but it's at the intersection of Cook Street and Queen Street and Kaka'ako Street. And we're proposing potentially to pose this question of having it to be an on-leash dog park. And we're just wondering if there's any input or feedback from the board of any other locations or potential critiques on this particular area as a dog park.
Yes.
Secretary Rice.
Hi there. Thank you for being here and thank you for the question. We all love dogs on this board, just so you know. I think we all do, right? Anytime you can carve out some land for a dog park with all these condominiums that are going up, we need a dog park because Moana Beach Park. People are getting cited with tickets. People are very angry right now, and hopefully that will change. But I think you might want to consider I don't know what you mean by on leash. I mean, what's the point of taking your dog to an enclosed dog park and they're on the leash? The whole purpose is to let them loose and to have fun while you're observing your dog and the other dogs that are there as well. So yes, please find as many open spaces as you can to provide a friendly place. I had a conversation with Craig Nakamoto from HCDA today about Gateway Park. I mean, you've got all that land there, sitting there, doing absolutely nothing. Nobody goes there. It's wide open, and close that whole darn thing, and you can have a big dog section and a little dog section, and it could be wonderful. But you got to put in shade. You got to put in benches. That's our safe zone for what?
That's Treasurer Moana?
Safe zone for what?
That's we've been meeting on for the community.
For the action. Oh, I
Sorry.
didn't get that. Okay, but if that Gateway Park doesn't work, that's fine. But there is land in the neighborhood that should be considered as well as what you're proposing.
Yes.
Please, 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 please.
Yes, we hear you, and we're working with the other departments. So hopefully more spaces will be proposed soon.
Member
thank
Chang.
you.
About, I would say maybe a year and a half ago, I was working with Council Member Fukunaga, I believe, and where dog parks could go. One was obviously in the Kaka'ako Waterfront Park area, as one place, maybe not necessarily gateway, but there's certainly some areas that are available in the Kaka'ako Waterfront Park. That was our first choice. The second choice was right outside of our district, and it's the Pawa'a Park, where they have the Korean memorials and the I guess some structures. That park is in great need of being activated. The only people using the park now are the homeless. And the only reason why it's not being activated is because nobody wants to go where the homeless are hanging out. And they're all in the park, along the sidewalk. I think if you put a dog park activated for the community, that might be what it takes to get that park used by the actual public and not be a place to store things from homeless people and tents and other items. It'll also get rid of all of the other problems that come with it, vandalism that we're constantly getting from the homeless in the area. That area, would also, it has some shade already. There is some fencing there already. There is water in the area that could probably be trenched and moved over to the dog park area. It's certainly large enough to have a dog park. And on both sides of that park is a ton of residential. And I live in the area. I walk my dogs. Unfortunately, I don't bring them there because technically you're not supposed to bring your dog in the park, but people do anyway. But reality, only people use it are the homeless because there's no way to activate it with people who will actually go there. So a dog park would go a long way in activating that park. Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer, what else?
Is there, yeah, so back to the idea of Ala Moana Park being more dog friendly. I think I remember a time when it used to be, you could bring your dog. And then I have a feeling it was the anti-homeless movement that actually, it was a way to ticket homeless people who had dogs by saying no. Is there any truth to that? And you don't think so? It wasn't about homeless people having dogs? It was say that was interesting.
But part of the argument was that about the homeless with the dogs.
Yeah, I remember it kind of getting mixed in there. And so the anti-homeless movement kind of ended up flashing with the pro-dog movement.
Yeah. So there was the board in the past had looked at maybe setting aside fenced-in area on Ala Moana Park, just like they have for the tennis courts, saying a fenced-in area on the outside, really home maybe by Kaka'ako Basin. A fenced-in area for a big dog park because of the population of the dog owners in these condos. And so is there a possibility that the city can take a look at that?
Yes. Our office will, work with DPR or the other departments in determining if zoning wise, if that's possible. Hopefully it is. But definitely.
Because if you use the same criteria, if you're setting up these other dog parks in the area with fencing and the lights, you already have Ala Moana Park. You just have to set up the exterior infrastructure.
And if you're walking your dog in Ala Moana Park to get to this enclosed dog park, no one should be ticketed. So that has to be clear. Because I will tell you, the HPD is, some police officers are confused. One neighbor of mine was in the park, the police officer approached them. They said, well, where are the signs? And the three bridges from Queen Street, Pi'ikoi Street, and the one further down, bridges that take you into the park, there are no signs. So it's very confusing for the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Member, did you have something to say? Okay, I think we're good. Hopefully we can take all this feedback, and we thank Councilmember Dos Santos Camp for opening up the discussion.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the discussion.
Sure. Okay, moving on. Time is now 7:42. Sub-district reports. Does anyone have anything to report from their sub-district? Okay.
Just on mine, the increase in graffiti is getting worse in my area. And also just around Ala Moana, Kaka'ako area. So it's not on the agenda right now, but from our district, we're kind of looking at maybe submitting a draft resolution to see, because there's laws on the books right now that governs, graffiti and damage to property. But it's an increment. It goes in from a misdemeanor to a small criminal felony. But the laws, as we talked to HPD on numerous occasions, there's a jurisdiction thing, right? If it's private property, they can't handle it as a owner. So the laws need to probably be looked at to ensure that it can raise the penalties for these criminal offenders that's putting graffiti all. Working with the judicial branch as well for enforcing those laws. But that's in my district.
Secretary, thank you, Member Moana. Secretary.
In my district, Kolawolo Park, there are now 3 wonderful picnic tables under the trees for everybody to come and enjoy. And I learned today that and that's thanks to our legislative representatives. And I spoke with Craig Nakamoto again today, and he's informed me that a new children's playground, the playground that exists there now, will be replaced September or October. And then there'll be a playground for smaller children, like under 5. And it will have a screen to protect them from the sun. And that's all coming down the pike from the money that was given to the district by Scott Psyche, Speaker Psyche, Senator Moriwaki, and Representative Adrian Tam secured the funds, which also covers the crosswalk and the Kolawolo Dog Park. So it's really nice for the community.
Thank you, Secretary Rice. Member Chang.
Okay, the city tree trimming crew was out in my area again, and they trimmed the dead tree again. It is now down to a stump with maybe one branch is 6 inches, the other's about a foot. It was much taller before. They've now cut the dead tree times. I've asked them to take down the dead tree. Problems.
But it keeps growing, it sounds like.
So at this rate, in about 10 years, they'll have nubbed that thing down to the root. I guess that's where I have to be satisfied, unfortunately. I did mention during the HPD report about the alarms going off at the Kaka'ako homes. We've complained numerous times. For some reason, that particular place is unable to really solve the problem as far as the alarms. They keep saying it's kids pulling the alarms. Maybe. I just think it's just malfunctioning.
Mm-hmm.
So we can only complain. That's all we can do. And maybe one of these days we'll get it fixed. I had it fixed for a little while, but it's happening again. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer Umoto.
So I've been visiting a lot of publicly subsidized rental buildings. So this is both in my sub-district and outside my sub-district, but in this district. And a lot of residents are complaining about rents being jacked up like 15% in 2 years. And they're freaking out. They're like, wait a minute, I'm a retiree and maybe the COLA goes up maybe 3% sometimes, but it's definitely not keeping up with the rental increases. And they're like, saying, how can they ask me to verify my income, and they know my income, and they keep making the rents go up? And it's clear that difference is being taken from their food allowance, and we already know that 1 out of 3 residents in Hawaii is food insecure already. This is just increasing that. I don't know, at some point we're going to need to address, there's a lot of now privately run affordable housing buildings, and they're being managed by commercial managers. Again, the rents go up, the tenants is the same. At some point, it's going to be a disaster, and then they're going to, and where do they go from here? Where do they go from affordable housing? What's the next step? And that's what they're asking. You know what I mean?
With their dogs.
That's what they're asking. And so at some point, we need to listen because we wonder why our homelessness crisis keeps coming up and there's a lot of insecure people.
I think, the board kind of addressed this in the past as well. You know, this is what we talked about in the future. We're coming up to that.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're talking about. Inflation and all that. Now we're going to create, like you just saw a presentation, affordable housing. We're going to be creating another set of homeless, houseless population, and that will be the kapunas, because their fixed income can keep up with inflation.
Thank you, Member Mariano. Any other comments from board members? I'll just look at the reports. Okay, thank you, everyone. The time is now 7:49 p.m. Do we have any residents and community concerns? Okay,
Very
moving on
quickly.
to-
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
My
sorry, who's
apologies.
speaking?
Sorry, this is Dyson. My apologies. Very quickly, in case Lieutenant Segusio is here, or if he's not here, just someone from the mayor office, I guess. I did get a community concern about the Meadow property. There was a lot of people who've been dumping stuff there. The most recent items were cleared, so I believe it is clear now. If someone from the office could just keep an eye on it, because there is a lot of people who are dumping like sofas and like furniture there, and I'm fairly certain it's illegal. In any case, it makes quite a bit of a mess. That's all that I had. Thank you.
Thank you, First Vice Chair. We have a couple of
Address of the location?
Medical.
The medical plan.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. They're taking notes on that, so we appreciate it for that. Moving on to agency report, HC. The link to our chat as well. HCDA.
Hi, can you hear me? Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Aloha, Chair Lee, members of the board, and everyone else joining us this evening. I'm Francine Murray from the Hawaii Community Development Authority Communications Office. I just put our chat for the June newsletter in. The link is in the chat. It highlights small business in Kaka'ako and the HCDA Improvement District projects. I want to thank Member Secretary Rice for the great summary and update on the HCDA projects. Thank you so much. That was wonderful.
Sorry, I stole your thunder, Francine.
No, terrific. We're short on time this evening. I just want to add a little bit to that. The adult fitness equipment that was installed at the Kolumalo Park on the Makai side, it was installed. However, the contractor needs to do additional work on the safety pad. They started laying it in May when we had the heavy rains, and so they have to go back and continue repairs on that safety pad under the equipment before the construction orange fencing can come down. And then we'll announce that it's open for the public to use after that's all complete. Other than that, are there any questions for me to take back to the office?
Thank you, Ms. Murray. Questions for Francine Murray from HCDA to the board? We are good. Thank you so much, and thank you for your patience from our last meeting as well. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Francine.
Thanks.
Okay, we have Ms. Marissa Gonzalez from Hart, and thank you as well for hanging on for last meeting and your report for this evening.
Yes, no problem. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good evening, Chair Kathleen Lee, board members, and community. My name is Marissa Gonzalez with the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation with a brief announcement for the Honolulu Rail Transit Project. So HART recently announced that the third rail, which provides power to the trains, has been energized for segment 2. HART wants to stress that entering active work zones or rail stations is strictly prohibited due to this danger. The energized third rail carries 750 volts of electricity to power the trains, posing a very serious fatal risk if you come into contact with it. The energization is an important milestone in the construction of the rail project, as it will allow HART to start testing the trains on the second segment of the Skylines rail system. So this means that the public will actually begin to start see the trains moving along the segments rail guideway from Aloha Stadium, Pearl Harbor Hickam, past the airport, Lagoon Drive to the Middle Street stations. The segment is expected to be transferred over to City's Department of Transportation Services in late 2025. I'll go ahead and share the rail hazards and safety flyer, and we'll also share the HART News release in the chat box. And please feel free to share the information. We posted that information recently on our social media, our website, our weekly e-blast, and are trying to just get the word out there about the energization. You can go ahead and for information about HART or the transit projects, you can go ahead and email honolulutransit.org, or you can send your questions to info@honolulutransit.org. Let me go ahead and post that, and I will do my best to answer any questions at this time. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
The room's muted.
Oh, it's okay. Are you able to hear it online?
Yes.
No. Okay, now we can hear
Okay, thank you. Moving on to elected official reports, we have Ashton Stallings from the governor's office. Thank you so much, by the way, again, for hanging out in the last meeting and for being here tonight.
No, of course, no problem. It was for all of you to review the governor's newsletter. So same drill this month. I have already posted it in the chat box. I recommend you check it out as usual. There's lots of good information, info on Maui's recovery, some information on the invasive coconut rhino beetles, and then just like various different projects and things like that. Also, he mentions the beginning of Festback, which is already concluded, but I hope all of you had a chance to at least attend some of the activities. It's great for the community, great to see so many people in town. But with that being said, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Questions for a representative from the governor's office? No. Okay. Moving on to council member Say's office, we have Ms. Pua. Oh, sorry.
We have Ben.
We have Ben.
Sorry, didn't mean to skip you over.
That's okay.
Mr. Sullivan from the mayor's office.
Thank you very much. Ben Sullivan from the Office of the Mayor. Happy to be here. I will be very brief. I took a little more time last week or last month than I intended to because of all the things that are being discussed. Mayor's newsletter for this month had a lot of things in it. One of them that I'm proud of is that the city team came together and did some great fundraising for the food bank, raised enough for 100,000 meals. So I felt like that was really impressive. And you may know that the food bank recently put out a hunger report that really highlights a lot of the challenges we talk about all the time. You know, whether it's houselessness or if it's the cost of living, cost of food. I mean, there's a lot of people that are hungry. And I think that's just something that we all obviously take very seriously, and we're going to continue to work on to try to do everything we can. I think that the team from HFD did a good job of covering some of the disaster preparedness stuff, but I just remind myself, hurricane preparedness in part for me means having that 15 gallons of water for myself and every member of my family as we come into the season. So we know that if the power goes out for an extended period, which I will say I did experience on Kauai in 1992, we got some water until somebody shows up and helps us out, which could be weeks, right? So really important. The last item I'm going to spend a little bit of time on, Chair Lee, is an invitation to continue the conversation about complete streets and about the conflict or the sometimes perceived conflict between cars and bikes
and the things we talked about in the last meeting. We have an open invitation with DTS to come to this board when the time is right for you to come and talk about that in more depth. They did look at some of the notes from last meeting, and they did come back and say, hey, there was some presentation to this board, in fact, with regards to Cook Street. It's possible it was missed because it was presented as a larger set of improvements in Kaka'ako. So it wasn't just talking about Cook Street, but if you recall, last month, we talked about the Cook Street bike lanes and there was concerns. They did point out that both in August 2022 and then April 2023, they brought some of that information to you. So I don't have the details. I'm just trying to share that there was some sharing. We do our best. It's often hard to get into every small detail, and apologies that there was misunderstandings on that regardless, because we're always trying to improve. On rights on red, I learned something on this one. You know, and there was a really great debate and discussion last month. What I learned is that it is 100% a safety issue, and it is supported by a lot of really strong data. So getting rid of right on red means less people dying by being hit by cars. And so DTS can really speak to that much better than I can, but there's a lot of information about that. And that's the foundation for those decisions. And I think that they feel really strongly about it, but they're certainly, I think, willing to share, because it's obviously important that people share understand the reasons why we're doing things. And if there's frustration, really learning about it is one way to alleviate that frustration. I think that's all I have. I hope that dead tree gets resolved, and I hope that the 311 app is useful and continuing to report that. We'll keep an eye on the Meadow Goat location, and I'm really happy that I get to report back to this board. So if there's anything else for next month that you'd like me to take note of and bring back to the team, I'm happy to do so. Or we can get it into the minutes as a specific request. Otherwise, we'll let the next one know.
Okay, for DTS, could we see if we can get them in for August?
You tell us. As long as it's communicated, we can communicate. We can talk to them. So you're saying preference for August versus July?
Yeah. Because we have our candidate forum in July. We want to make sure we spend a good amount of time on this discussion, because it has come up in almost every meeting.
Yep. So we can make that request. I can go into the record, yeah, so I don't have to do it. So, yeah, okay.
August, if not August, September.
Yeah.
The next couple.
Whatever the determination is of the board, I think they will consider it and make sure they have the personnel. So one or the other.
Thank you.
We'll work it out.
You have a good rapport with ECO?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We work with ECO a lot.
It might be nice to have ECO kind of talk to people about what happened.
Uh-huh.
Oh, downtown.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be really good for them to reach out to the public, maybe through neighborhood boards or some other ways of just reaching out and saying, hey, look, this is what happened, this is what we're doing. I mean, I know they're trying their best on damage control.
Sure.
But I think they probably need to reach out a little bit more.
Sure.
Because, they're the monopoly utility in the state.
Yes, they are. Well, except for Kauai.
Yeah, except for Kauai, where you're from. So, and, they have co-op, which is pretty amazing that they've done this well.
Maybe making it easier for the businesses in Chinatown to file claims. I bet a lot of them, they're mom and pops. Do they keep great records of their purchases and things like that? I could see that being a challenge for them.
Great suggestion, and certainly, with the next opportunity, we can flag this and see if they're interested. Obviously, we don't have any jurisdiction over them, but make them aware that you're interested in hearing from them. But I'll put that behind the DTS discussion for August. We'll take it from there. They all have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Ben, for always being here. We appreciate it.
Much better to be here than be online. I've learned that.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan from Mayor's office. We have Ms. Kalani from Councilmember Say's office, who gave us a very detailed report. And hopefully that'll be your share drive as well.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. This is Cora from Councilmember Say's office. I hope everybody's doing well tonight. I just wanted to give you quick highlights. The June monthly newsletter, monthly newsletter is in, we have a link and that I sent to the NCO, and we have that distributed to you. Also to piggyback on Complete Streets, I ended up talking to Renee SPL, informed that if there's any upcoming projects that are happening in your area, there is a link to their Complete Streets website that also has it's not a monthly newsletter, but it's a newsletter where it's like maybe every 2 to 3 months, but there are archival newsletters in there to show when projects are coming up or what happened and when it was discussed. So just a little tidbit on that. The other thing is during the month of June, Boss was in he was recognizing empowering future leaders for Po'okela Fellowship Program. And so this program is actually with young leaders coming out of college, and they have a program where it prepares them to maybe go into governmental work. So there was, I believe, 23 future leaders who participated in the Po'okela Fellowship Internship Program. And there's a link to that on his newsletter. The other thing is, we had a call from our weekly concerns that there's a hotspot. It's the issue in Moana area, the harassment by the bus stop on 1411 Kapiolani Boulevard and 1530 Makaloa Street. So I had HPD, I put in a riser or request for investigative services to HPD to look over that area. So there's that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, okay, so the changes on Cook Street. I talked to Renee Espial, Beat Streets. Our offices did do the Did You Know? This was actually 13 pages, but I tried to do it back and front. The NCO has it. So this is all the departments and also other offices. There's 21 departments in the city and county of Honolulu. Yeah, and so what I did was that we ended up putting the name of the department, the acronym. So just in case, I love knowing about acronyms, but it's always confusing what people are talking about because we talk a lot in acronyms. And then I put the Olelo Hawaii name of the department and also the website. So there's 21 of them, and there's other significant departments such as the Managing Director's Office or the MDO Office, the Office of Economic Revitalization, and then the different divisions in the department. If you're looking for any kind of topic you need to look at, you can go on their website and search and type in the division, and then you have more information on that. So this is on, not only did I send it to the NCO, I had Dylan Buck have it distributed to all the neighborhood boards so that they can actually have some information on what is city and what is state, when it comes to repairs, when it comes to streets and what have you. Let me see, and I believe, and another thing is, I know HPD was talking about restriping the Alamoana Boulevard area between the shopping center and the park because it's really faded. So I put in a request for that as well. But other than that, I don't have anything else.
This is great. Thank you for.
You're very welcome. Sure.
So touching, actually.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I have a question.
Yes.
That stabbing that was over at Walmart?
Okay.
Yeah.
The young woman that was on the news who helped save the guy's life.
Yeah.
She's actually a neighbor of mine. I didn't realize.
Oh, wow.
Is there a way to recognize her at all?
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up. On our July full council meeting, we're actually going to acknowledge her.
Oh, you are?
Oh, wow. Before full council. So she's going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just that for somebody so young.
Right.
To be that poised and have that presence of mind to jump in there, help him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just amazing. I think she's like a freshman or senior, freshman, I think.
Yeah, freshman, I think in college.
Yeah, in college. And for her to be in the area and
just quick about it.
Jump in and do something and, try and keep the guy calm and all that. Sure. I thought it was rather amazing for somebody so young. Yeah. I don't know that I could have done it, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Maybe I could have, but for her, she just jumped in. So thank you very much for.
Sure.
I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
And can you let us know when the city council meeting is?
Okay, I will email you guys and I'll let you guys.
Look it up, please. Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah. Should be in the first week of July.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. Yeah, sure.
Hey, Councilmember Taylor DeSantis or his office representative, Ms. Maladinsky again. Thank you for being here.
Hello again. So the newsletters and the chats. And so going over a little bit of the content. So there's some game rooms that have been rated by HPD. Councilmember DeSantis Tam has put forth legislation on how to limit the proliferation of game rooms. So that's in the newsletter. We have an upcoming community park cleanup. It's in the Kalihi Valley area, so it's kind of out of our district, but it's on Saturday, July 27th. And then there's also, I think Gov's office mentioned, but we also had a community meeting on the coconut rhinoceros beetles and how to identify and eradicate the beetle. So we have information on that. It's not really relevant to the Moana Kaka'ako area. The beetles tend to like more rural areas, which is a good thing to not be in the Moana area, but just how the community can recognize the signs of degradation by the beetles. And then, of course, the dog park discussion. But that's it for me if anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Hensky. Board? Okay, thank you again for being here this evening. Okay. Representative Scott Nishimoto or his office. Representative Ms. Taylor Duffin, are you online?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Rep. Nishimoto.
Hey, good evening, board and community members. I'm here to answer any questions if you have them.
Folks? No questions for the board. Thank you for being here this
Okay.
evening.
Thank you.
Rep. Adrian Tam or representative from his office?
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Flora from Representative Adrian Tam's office. I've put our end of session update in the chat and also delivered some on paper. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions for Rep. Ham's office? Okay, thank you for being here this evening. Speaker Psyche's office?
This is Scott Sickie. I'm here. I did submit a report to the board, and are there any questions?
Questions from the board for Speaker Psyche? No questions. Thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, Senator Sharon Moore Lockwood.
Here she comes. Okay, here's my report. Pass it around.
Thank you.
I need one to.
Oh, you're good.
Oh, you sure? Actually, I know you folks all want to go home, so I'm gonna. So aloha board, nice to be here. I just want to make a big plug for the police. I've been working with a new new commander for District 1, our district, Major Paul Okamoto. And he's has some ideas on how we activate citizen patrols. And we always keep saying, oh, the police should be doing this, they should be doing that. And, you know, I think we need to support them more. And in Kaka'ako, we have 3 citizen patrols. I know Speaker has one. I have one that's called Kaka'ako United, and there's one with One Archer Way that meets from Thomas Square. But I was hoping that we could activate more citizen patrols. You just walk around once a week, and it deters. I think it deters crime. And I have in my, I don't know if all of you are in my e-newsletter, but I'm going to spotlight Major Okamoto and some of his ideas of what he's trying to do to activate the community, have better relationship with the community. So I know in Waikiki as well, they're doing more foot patrols, they're going on the bikes, they're going on ATVs. So, you know, really kind of, it takes a community basically. So I'm on a big plug for the police. And Is there anything that we could do as a board for HPD?
Yeah, for the neighborhood watches that you've mentioned,
Yeah.
is there, I know that's been going on, I don't have like is there a schedule?
No, well, we've got, I've got some in my e-newsletter, the ones that I know about, right? There's like about three of them. And they meet, like I know my citizen patrol is every Monday at 5:30.
And we just walk around the Kaka'ako area, but there's one, that one
Speaker
archer,
does one,
and
too.
speaker has one, and one archer has one. So we could publicize that more from the neighborhood board. You could actually put it in your, you know, when you.
Do you send your newsletter to the general managers of all the condos in?
Whoever is on my email list, but they're not in the email, so, yeah, it would be nice to get that, because then people will be more active, and I really think that it helps a lot. I mean, I know when we walk around the district, the businesses are really, they really like it, because somebody's walking around. And I know in Waikiki, the citizen, the community policing officers actually walk with the citizens. And it's really nice because then people kind of.
Also the areas in the area.
You know, so it's, and it's good exercise.
It's good. There's some areas even I won't walk.
No, but the police should walk with you, and so then, you know.
That would be nice.
Yeah, because I think he wants to do that, so, you know, maybe.
So if, maybe that's a good way to publicize it, that HPD will walk with the neighborhood.
And I know that when we started, they had like a 1 hour training. It's really, you know, if you're in citizen patrol or neighborhood watch, don't go trying to stop a fight, you know. As you know, you don't want to get into altercations, but, you know, at least you call in and you would know, and you start knowing your police officers, then you can call it in. So things like that are really helpful hints for everybody to know. So I'd like to encourage us all to work with them and talk to them and be nice to them.
Like you said, every meeting, it's HPD.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're so limited.
And they're trying to recruit people. So they have all these vacancies. Now, I don't work for them now. They have all these vacancies, and it's like, because number one, they're trying to raise their salary, but it's not only salaries, it's like, you know, you want to be appreciated. Too. And, you know, so we got to help them help us. So that's my big plug for the evening. The other kinds of things are state issues. We did fund $64 million for the convention center that brings in lots of money, but their roof is leaking, and it's been leaking since
2 years.
Too long, yeah. And so that hopefully we'll fix that and be able to bring in more people. And also the Terry Orton, who runs the convention center, said that the downtimes when they don't have people coming from outside, they want to open it up for the community. So they're going to have two pickleball tournaments in there. They're doing all kinds of activities that go there. So, yeah, so don't be shy asking for places to meet. We have judicial nominees coming up for Circuit Court. We're meeting tomorrow in special session. The Senate is in special session, so we will get more judges, hopefully good judges. They seem okay to me. And the governor has submitted his intent to veto bills. Most of them, I think, should be vetoed.
17, I think.
There's 17 bills. And well, one is line item veto in the budget, but yeah, 17 bills. So they are, I gave you the link if you haven't seen it. And if any of those interest you, then I would strongly encourage you to write to the governor and give your input, and so on. I think everything else, I have anything, questions you have, and you're already trying to go home, Rodney.
I'm trying to stretch out.
Yeah, I've got a cramp in my left thumb.
Thank you for being here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here as always.
It's really nice to see all of you.
You too.
Aloha. Good night.
Okay, good night.
I love it. Good night.
Okay, and then we
Okay.
have, U.S. Congressman I take representative, not sure if anyone's there.
Yeah, never here, never. I got a letter from him telling me he does show up in the almost 3 years I've been on this board, he has never shown up. And I'm gonna write him a letter back because I'm mad.
Okay, announcement, we have our social media account, our next regular meeting is Sunday, like 23rd. We have our
action
meeting on July 11th, and the next meeting is going to be a hybrid, park league board business and most candidates forum. It is broadcasted on Olelo, if you all want to go over this. And that's all we have for today. This meeting is adjourned at 8:18 p.m.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You too, thank you.